I'm Kevin Van Ord here on at the GameSpot booth once again. Got pulled in very last minute for this, so I don't even know what camera I'm supposed to be looking at. I bet you it's that one. But we are here to take
Fuji,
a look
the
at
producer, right?
on Ninja Gaiden 3.
Well, thank you.
So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves, gentlemen. This is Peter Garza, who's translating, and you are translating for?
お願いします。
私はチーム忍者プロデューサーの林です。
My name is Yosuke Hashi. I'm the Team Ninja producer.
Excellent. And you brought some Ninja Gaiden 3 to show us today. Can you, before we take a look, can you tell us about some of the changes we can expect to see in this very anticipated sequel?
じゃあ、忍者ガイデン3の新しいところを教えてください。
そうですね。忍者ガイデン3は、竜はやぶさという、今までのシリーズの主人公がいるんですけども、彼を、ジャパニーズダークヒーローとして描いて、彼の生き様、彼の戦い様っていうのを皆さんに体験していただきたいというのはこのゲームのコンセプトです。
So for Ninja Gaiden 3, of course we are bringing back the main character Yu Hayabusa that everybody knows and loves. But the core concept for him in Ninja Gaiden 3 is to make him a Japanese dark hero. So you'll be looking at both, of course, how he fights and how he what makes him tick.
And how about combat? I had a chance to play a little bit of Ninja Gaiden 3 last night at the Sony event. So there are definitely some changes. Before we go into the game, can you give us kind of an idea of what some of those might be?
じゃあ、コンバットに関しては変更点を教えてください。
今までの忍者ガイデン、忍者ガイデンって今まで刀で人を切ることに対して描き続けてきました。忍者ガイデン1が、それを爽快に感じるということ。忍者ガイデン2はそれを欠損という表現でデフォルメで表現することで、今回忍者ガイデン3は刀で人を切ったら切り応えってあるだろうっていうことと、骨を感じるだろうっていうことで、そこの断骨表現っていうものにこだわってよりクロースなバトルっていうものを実現しています。
So of course Ninja Gaiden centers around cutting people with a katana. And for Ninja Gaiden 1, it was all about making that fun action. For Ninja Gaiden 2, it became all the decapitation and lopping people's arms and legs off in this over the top fashion. For
もっと力を込めて刀を抜き切るということをアクションで表現しています。
So as you're seeing, as we play through here, you'll see time slow down and a button will pop up on screen. This is sort of the expression of the steel on bone that we were talking about. This is the concept of as you cut into a person, your sword sort of gets caught in sort of the meat and the bone, and as you cut into them, and you need to really push your way through to finish off the cut. So you'll see that popping up with the different enemies as you're fighting in the combat to give you a closer, more visceral feel.
こちらの方は実際に動画で見るよりもプレイしてもらえればプレイの皆さんがそこの断骨感っていうのはよりしっかりと感じていただけると思います。
We think it comes across even more visceral, and you'll really feel it when you actually get your hands on the game. We can show you it here, but the game, it's all about the game.
Now, last night when I was playing, I noticed several new things that I've never seen in a Ninja Gaiden game, or not a modern Ninja Gaiden game before. One of those were stealth sections. Can you elaborate a little bit on how the stealth in Ninja Gaiden 3 will work?
じゃあその忍び込むシーンとかもありますし、
今まで竜はやぶさっていうのはその忍ばない忍者として有名だったんですけども、我々がジャパニーズダークヒーローとして忍者を描く際に、忍びもするし殺しもするし、そういったバトルだけじゃないはやぶさの一面っていうのを見せたかったので、今回はそういったステルスとかいろいろなバトル中にコンバットだけじゃない遊びっていうのも多数入れています。
So in the past, Yu Hayabusa has been sort of this killing machine. He's just been all out, just go and hack people away. For us, looking at making him sort of this Japanese dark hero, we wanted to sort of bring him into more of a ninja stance, more ninja-like in what we do, and what we know as Japanese developers, and try and bring that to ninjas. So we're incorporating some stealth aspects and some other gameplay elements. Sort of a variety of actions, aiming at making him, even more of a ninja.
And some other things too that I noticed, and you know, I don't want to get on too much of what's new because I also want to talk about what might be old that's coming back. But I'm kind of curious too. One move, well, it's actually up on the screen that we can see here right now, is the Kunai climb. And how important is this going to be in Ninja Gaiden 3, and how often can I expect to see something like this where I'm climbing up walls?
でこの、まあ、国内クライムも新しいコースですけど、これ自体はどれぐらいありますか、忍者ガイデン3の中では、この機械とこれを。
これだけが単純にこれだけでどうってことじゃなくて、通して遊んだ中のチェンジオブペースとしてこのクナイクライムっていうのが入っています。今回は出したものは本当に登るだけでしたけども、それがいろんな場所でこれから使われるようになる予定になっています。
So the Kunai climb is going to be in there throughout the game, but it's not going to be the main thing. It's there for a change of pace, give you a little bit of a different feel. In the current demo, you're, of course, climbing up a wall, but we'll be able to incorporate the Kunai climb into other situations as well.
Now, one thing that I noticed from the very beginning is obviously it's going for a much more kind of a cinematic kind of feel, you know, with lots of close-up cameras. But there are also lots of what we would call quick-time events where you have to press certain buttons at certain times in order to accomplish, you know, very scripted events. And I was certainly reminded of a game from a couple years ago called Ninja Blade, and I'm kind of curious how much of that we're going to see as well. I think some Ninja Gaiden fans are maybe worried that they see that and perhaps expect that there's going to be too much scripting and not enough chance to show off their own skills. And I'm wondering how you would respond to that.
今見ていただくと、ボタンを表示してるんで、そういったクイックタイムイベントじゃないかっていう心配されると思うんですけども、あれ実際に出してるボタンっていうのは皆さんが日頃忍者はやぶさを操作するボタンと何ら変わりません。なのであれは大い意味で分かりやすいチュートリアルだと思ってもらえれば、皆さんが自然に押すボタンに自然にアクションが入っていますので、なんか意味もなく丸だ、×だ、三角だっていうようないわゆるクイックタイムイベントとは全く違うっていうのはということはお伝えしておきます。
で今でもそのボタンが表示されてないところもあるので、
そうですね。で、あれはチュートリアルなんで、もうすでにボタンは見てもらうと分かる通り消えてます。
So, yeah, we're aware of people, when you see a button on screen, you normally think it's a QTE, and it's very simple, and Ninja Gaiden fans might have a little bit of issue with that. For this particular level, this is a tutorial stage here for E3, and so we have button prompts to help people to get into the action. And for the Steel on Bone segments, you would see time slow down and the button prompt would come up. But even now, as you can see in the playing that's going on right now, the button doesn't show up. So we want that there's a tutorial to ease people into actually getting into the action. But once they learn the action should feel natural. And that's one of the core concepts for the whole action and battles for Ninja Gaiden, is to make it feel natural. So it's less about QTEs and more about just easing people into something that should feel natural and will come naturally as you play the game.
Now, Amr in Cairo is curious about the weapons and the weapon upgrades. We're used to seeing, weapons like the Dragon Sword and things like that. What can we expect to see in terms of weaponry, and will we be able to upgrade those through the course of the game?
今回は、刀で人を切るそこの、手応えということと、刀で人を切ることに関しても我々としてはフォーカスしてます。なので、こうやっていっぱい人を切ってる状態がストーリーにもストレートに絡んできますので、刀をいろいろ持ち帰ってということではなくて、ストーリーに合わせて竜はやぶさの武器っていうのが変わっていくようになります。でより多くの技を使えるようになっていくのはなってきますので、忍者ガイデンファンの方は楽しみにしてください。
Ninja Gaiden 3 the story of Ninja Gaiden 3 is very connected to the sword itself and the idea of cutting people down with a sword. So we've really focused the story and the action that goes along with the story on the sword itself. So throughout the course of the game, you will get other weapons that work within the story as it progresses. But it is really centered around swordplay. Throughout the course of the game, of course, you will have opportunities to learn more moves and do things like that we know Ninja Gaiden fans want, and we're definitely going to have those in there. But the action itself is going to be really focused on the sword this time.
Now, tell us a little bit more about, we've seen Ryu's arm, and we see it glowing here, and I've seen it described as somewhat as though his arm is actually possessed in some way. Can you shed some light on how his arm is actually involved in the action as well as in the story?
そのゲームプレイもストーリーもどう関わってるか教えてください。
あれが、まずゲームストーリーにとってはあそこが、竜はやぶさが先ほど言った刀で人を切るということと密接に絡んでいます。なのであそこが何かストーリーによっていろいろ変化していく。今回はそこの一部を切り出したものなんです。ゲームとしては、そこを人を切り続けるとここに、業がたまるんですよ。でその業を発動することで今までアルティメットテクニックといったものが使えるようになります。なのでゲームとしては、そこのアルティメットテクニックを使う記号として使えますし、ゲームとしてはそれで人を切り続けたことによるその業っていうものもストーリーに直接絡んできますので、人を切ることのその業がこの腕に溜まってるっていうふうにご理解ください。
So story-wise, it is very connected with the course of the story and the events of the story. We can't really go into that a whole lot right now, but gameplay-wise, as you kill someone, the more people you kill, sort of the more you feel the burden of the lives that you've had to take. And that burden and those lives sort of amass in the arm. And when it's built up, when you have enough of that, when it's built up enough, you can trigger an ultimate technique. So in terms of gameplay, that's how you trigger the ultimate techniques this go around.
Okay. Now, a couple of people wondering where this is taking place, and I know because I played last night, but I'm curious if you can tell us about the setting and how it is that we arrived at this particular place.
じゃあこのステージの、設定とどうやってここまで来たのか教えてください。
今回はストーリーの一番冒頭で、日本のその防衛省の男から、竜はやぶさが呼ばれている、あるその武装集団に呼ばれている、そこを竜はやぶさがお前が片付けてこいという命令を受けます。でそこで今回こうやって竜はやぶさは、イギリスからゲームがストーリーします。そこからストーリーが転がっていって、そういった防衛省のキャラクターも絡んでストーリーが展開していきますけども、ゲームとしてはまずその防衛省の男が竜はやぶさをこのストーリーに巻き込んだというのが発端になります。
The story starts off where some agents from the Japanese self-defense force go to Ryu Hayabusa and basically say, terrorists have taken over London, they're calling for you, you're going to go out and fix that. So they get him involved in the events of the story and all of what's happened. He flies out to London, and that's where this stage takes place. Throughout the course of the story, you'll see other locations, and those characters from the Japanese self-defense force will also appear. But for this stage, that's how it gets started.
And lots of people want to know, and one of them is Cameron Zeb in Oxford, England. What he wants to know is, he wants hard Ninja Gaiden. And what we want to know is, how hard is the game, and how does it stack up in terms of difficulty to Ninja Gaiden Black, to Ninja Gaiden Sigma, to Ninja Gaiden 2, and so on.
今回ディフィカリティに関しては忍者ガイデンで今までないチャレンジをする予定にしてます。今回は、忍者ガイデンファンの皆さんにまずこれが今の新しい忍者ガイデンだよねっていうことをぜひ皆さんに感じていただきたかったので、そういう意味では非常にまだオールドスタイルなディフィカリティ設定になっている部分もあります。そういう意味だと忍者ガイデンファンの皆さんはぜひそのディフィカリティの難しいモードなんかをこの E3 バージョンは触ってみてもらいたいんですけども、実際の製品版に関しては、そういった方と、今回アクションゲームとして初めて忍者ガイデン触る方もみんなそうして楽しめるようなものを我々としては提供する予定です。
So of course we know that everybody loves Ninja Gaiden for its difficulty. the fans want that challenge, and we definitely want to put something in the game that will, meet their expectations and give them every bit as much challenge as they want. We're also looking at ways to get people who have never played Ninja Gaiden into the game and to feel like it's fun and get them involved in the franchise. So in the final version, we're looking at having aspects that can please both groups, both get new people and appease, the fans who want that challenge. We definitely want people to come into E3 if they're here, play the game, get their hands on it, let us know, what they feel about the challenge and how they feel about it. And then we'll listen to them, listen to their voices, and take it back and put it in the game.
Before we move on to the next part of the show, I'm kind of curious because Amr is back from Cairo again, and he's got tons of questions, but he does want to know about how the action might differ from other Ninja Gaidens in terms of new moves, things like that. Something that's new to the gameplay beyond what we've already seen. Something new to the action.
その新しい技とか、変更されたところとか他にありますか？
細かい部分でいろいろ変わってますので、忍者ガイデンファンの皆さん見つけていただけると思いますけども、目指すところとしては今までの回避行動っていうのが今回スライディングに変わってまして、そこで敵を浮かしたりとか、それもよりアクション攻撃としても使えるようになってますので、より攻撃的なそのバトルをぜひ皆さん組み立てていってもらえればな。
So one thing that we didn't talk about that you might have seen in the demo that we were just looking at is evades have changed from rolls to slides, and you can actually use that, incorporate that more into your attacks. You can knock enemies up in the air with the slide, so it's not just a defensive maneuver anymore. You can use it to lead into combos and things like that. So the whole gameplay for Ninja Gaiden is something we're looking at. There will be minor tweaks here and there that hardcore fans, once they see it, once they feel it, they'll be like, okay, this has changed a little bit. But that's one of the ones that we think will stand out.
Okay. And finally, when can we expect to see Ninja Gaiden 3 and platforms? Tell us what we need to know.
じゃあリリースとかハードとか教えてください。
忍者ガイデン3は、プレイステーション3と、Xbox360 に2012年のアーリーに発売です。あともう一つはい。
So the PS3 version and the 360 version will be out in early 2012, but
あと今日朝1個発表あったと思いますけども、我々としては Wii U に、忍者ガイデン3の、Wii U 専用バージョンもリリース予定です。
As was released this morning at the Nintendo conference, we are planning a version of Ninja Gaiden for Wii U. That will be released, and the details for that release will be coming in the future.
Excellent. Well, gentlemen, thanks for joining us here on the stage. It was a pleasure seeing Ninja Gaiden 3. It was a pleasure talking to you. And I'm going to send it out to the show floor. Something is going on in my ear. I don't know what, but so let's find out together exactly what's happening out there.